Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jails. Today I want to talk a little bit about abusing inmates at both the Scrubs and at Strangeways. One particular trick that they used to do in the kitchens at Strangeways. Now, the kitchens at Strangeways, it provides the food for the entire prison population. And at Strangeways, the kitchens were located between D1 and E1 on the ones. Yeah, that's the ground floor. And there's a door between D1 and E1, and that leads into the kitchens like a tunnel that goes through. And the actual kitchens are located in that on that space there beneath the tower. Now the tower is very interesting. You know, the ventilation tower, I told you I'd been up there. Well, when they were refurbishing it in 1979, I went in there in the tower, actually into the tower. I told you I'd been up to the top, and I got the lightning conductor because they were knocking it down and refurbishing it. So I've actually got the original lightning conductor from the top of Strangeways ventilation tower that was first erected there in 1868, because that's when the year when the prison was built. Yeah, and now I went into the tower, and the tower is a big shaft that goes up. It's got a spiral staircase that goes up round the inside of the walls. Very spooky, actually, because you get about, I don't know, 20-30 steps further up, and the handrail that's there, you think this is going to be no problem. I nearly said a piece of piss then, but it's not polite, is it? But anyway, when you go halfway up, the handrail disappears, and the steps, instead of being like 2 foot, you know, so you're walking up them like a normal staircase, no, they go down to about 12 inches, and you've got to get up is put your back against the wall and go up sideways. You can tell when anybody's been up the tower, they're all covered in shit all over the back. Anyway, at the bottom, right at the bottom of the tower, right at the bottom of the tower, right at the bottom, when I went in there, I saw all papers all over the place, and what they were letters to inmates that hadn't been gone through the censors. They just, instead of censoring them and passing them out to the prisoners, they hadn't done. They'd slung them all down in a great pile. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, should I? Because inmates there have been deprived of their mail, which is a criminal offence, you know, to interfere with Her Majesty's Royal Mail. They're dumped under the tower, right at in the base of the tower, because it goes right down into the ground. And it's a system that, because all the cells are honeycombed with little vents, you know, so the tower draws the stale air out of the prison and ventilates the entire prison. But I was telling you about abusing the prisoners. Apart from ripping the mail up and throwing it in a great big pile at the base of the tower, apart from that, in the kitchens they had a thing whereby the cook and bakers, you know, the officers who were in charge of it, they got a great big, like a big pan, you know, the great big, must be a 50-60 gallon pan, great big thing where they boil all the potatoes up. And new recruits or prisoners who were coming to work in the prison, one of the first things he did was grab them, strip them naked, and put them into the pot, into the big heater thing, the oven thing, where they were doing the potatoes. That was part of their initiation ceremony for joining the prisons. Yeah, welcome to the prison kitchen. Into the potato pot. Talking about abusing prisoners, the senior officer that was running the segregation unit at Wormwood Scrubs was a huge fella, you know, big fella, you know, one of these industrial unit types, you know, 18 stone and built like a brick outhouse. I nearly said brick shit house then. I'm lapsing into the vernacular here too much tonight. I must be suffering from a form of Tourette's. Anyway, this big bastard, there we go again. He was also, he had a little thing that he did outside. He used to run the scouts, the Boy Scouts outside, so he was a scoutmaster as well as being the senior officer in charge of the segregation unit at Strangeways, and he eventually ended up getting some bird himself for interfering with the Boy Scouts. I mean, how weird is that? Hey, seriously, I think it's weird. Especially as you've been in charge of the segregation unit, you're going to get yourself some bird, which he did. Terrible, isn't it? Yeah, but anyway, just shows you, you never know, do you think? I mean, I was in the Boy Scouts. Nobody tried to interfere with me. I was in the church choir, and we had a real woofter. I mean, I'm not homophobic by any way, but this guy was a little bit too nice to me, in the church choir, which is unusual, really, because I'm not that kind of pretty little boy, am I? Not really. Look a bit like Terry Downs. You know Terry Downs, the boxer? Yeah, looked a little bit like that, smashed up snot box and scars all over the place, yeah. Anyway, I was telling you, yeah, this guy, he got some bird for that. I don't know where he went, but he definitely went. Strangeways. There was another lark. Right? It's always these big bastards, isn't it? The big, tall, hefty ones who like to throw the weight around, and the medium-sized ones like me, we actually can do the business. But them bastards, they just like to bully people. I don't know why. Anyway, one of the things he did at Strangeways, which he could very easily have backfired. There was some inmate kicking up, so this big lad and a couple of his mates grabbed him on the E1 landing. I remember it well. And they got a hose pipe, yeah? And it's skirting water, stripped this guy naked and tried to insert the hose pipe as it was squirting out water into his rectum. I mean, if they had actually done that, the shock to his body could have killed him. I'm sure that's immediately stopped that. So anyway, they did stop it. They were just about to get it right into his bum. Yeah, when they stopped, I said, "Do you realise? You could have killed that bloke. He's screaming on the floor. This fella, screaming on the floor. Terrible. I mean, and this same big unit, we used to have. They converted 3 cells into like a dormitory on E3, I believe it was. And one night we were on duty, and he was on duty with me. There's 2 of us on E-wing. Yeah, started banging on the door up in E3 where the dormitory was and shouting. And I said, I'll just go and have a word with him. Stay there. He said, I'll sort this out. He drew his truncheon, I've got a truncheon here. I think you might have seen it before. Yeah, that's what a truncheon looks like. Yeah. You've got a hand grip, you wear that around there, you put it around your wrist like that, yeah? So that if anybody tries to take it off you, you got it, yeah? So he took his truncheon out, this fella. He says, I'll go and sort the bastards out. So I said, you better not doing that, I said, all it really needs is have a word with him. Piss off. So off he went up to the landing, and I heard the door open, because he was making a racket, this fella, yeah, I'm going to teach you, burnt the door open. I think there are about 10 of them in this dormitory, and I could hear this bang, clash, smash, bang. He'd done 10 of them on his own with his truncheon. Then he locked him up. You could hear the screams echoing round the prison. I tell you, best to stay out of the jails, really, I think, Whether you want to be a member of staff or not, I wouldn't recommend it, unless you're mad. I mean, I obviously must have been mad. I'm having a drink of tea now, because so I can sing to you without having a rough, gravelly voice, Grandad, you are my favourite. Don't know who sent me that. I've got 2 grandsons, Aaron and Jasper. Anyway, I am now going to sing you a song by special request. I've had lots of requests to stop singing, by the way. Keep them coming, they really cheer me up, at least I'm getting through, But this was a song that was requested, specifically requested. They wanted me to do this one, The Wild Colonial Boy, yeah? So, hey, listen, and I have been to Castlemaine, where Jack Duggan came from, and they have a public house in there called the Jack Duggan, a bar, pub, an Irish bar, and it's in Southern Ireland, in County Kerry. It's called Castlemaine, and they've got signs up, this is the home of the Wild Colonial Boy and all that stuff, yeah. And this is the song about what happened to the Wild Colonial Boy from Castlemaine, County Kerry, in Ireland when he went to Australia. Are you sitting comfortably? Yes. So I shall begin. There was a wild colonial boy, Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland, in a place called Castlemaine. His father was his only son, his mother's pride and joy, and dearly did his parents love the wild colonial boy. At the early age of 16 years, Jack left his native home, and to Australia's sunny shores he was inclined to roam. He robbed the rich, he helped the poor, he shot James McAvoy. A terror to Australia was the wild colonial boy. One morning on the prairie, as Jack he rode along, and listening to the mockingbird sing its joyful song, up came a band of troopers, Kelly Davis and Fitzroy. They'd all set out to capture him, the wild colonial boy. Surrender now, Jack Duggan, for you see we're 3 to 1. Surrender in the Queen's high name, for you are a plundering son. Jack drew 2 pistols from his belt and proudly waved them high. I'll fight, but not surrender, said the wild colonial boy. He fired a shot at Kelly, which laid him to the ground, and turning round to Davis, he received a fatal wound. A bullet pierced the fierce young heart from the pistol of Fitzroy, and that was how they captured him, the wild colonial boy. There you go. And if he'd heard me singing that, he would be bloody wild, wouldn't he? Anyway, that's it. Tales from the Jails. Hope you liked, subscribe, all the rest of it. Tales from the Jails, John G. Sutton. See you soon.